Y'all, this might be my favorite Strand Hunter build thus far with the Wishkeeper exotic bow. Came out with the Starcross mission not too long ago inside of Destiny 2. This build utilizes the ability to suspend literally everything with 2 separate grenades that suspend, 2 class abilities that suspend, as well as our weapon in question, the Wishkeeper exotic bow. So we will get right into it. First off, with the exotic, we will be using the double dodge 6th Coyote, which gives us just that double charge for our dodge, which is super nice because we're using that Ensnaring Slam, which suspends targets on our Strand Hunter. Now, for mods that we are going to be using, charged up with whatever resistance you want. You could just juice it up for whatever you are going into, so totally up to you. Now, we're going to be using Dynamo to get our super back because we're going to be using our class ability next to targets to ensnare them and keep them suspended. Harmonic Siphon for the bow as well as our heavy, and Powerful Friends to spread the armor charge love. Now, Focusing Strike as well as Bolstering Detonation right here is going to give us class ability when we do damage with our grenade or our melee. So getting our Ensnaring Slam is going to be very quick and very easy, especially looking at those stats on the right: 100 mobility, 100 resilience with that 80 in discipline. Impact Induction causing damage with our melee gives us our grenade back. Since we got 2 of them, having the double shackle is absolute juice. Charged up right here to pair with time dilation and our double strand weapon surge, giving that 17% increase with having it last longer, as well as Reaper to give us more orbs of power with this build. Starting us off on our weapons, we're using the exotic bow Wishkeeper, which is what this whole build revolves around, and suspending enemies. Now, this does have 4 different catalysts, which we are yet to unlock. I am recording this quite early to just get it out and get it processed for you guys, with giving you which of the catalysts I will use for this, which come out in the future, completing the legendary version of the Starcross mission. Now, Silkbound is our first trait, so this weapon deals increased damage to suspended targets. We also get a faster draw time for when we suspend targets from any source, so we're going to have that grenades as well as our Ensnaring Slam, plus the weapon in general is going to suspend enemies, so we get all of that in a lot of different fashions. Now, with the Snare Weaver, we add up all of the defeats that we get with the precision hits to get the suspend on this, which we hit fire that arrow, so very good for suspending targets in its own. As for the catalyst that I believe I'm going to use is the multi-threaded snare, so Snare Weaver Trap suspends even more targets. Now, we have the option for this, which lasts longer, Vorpal or Hatchling, but I do think multiple thread snare is going to be the best option for a lot of the builds with this weapon, with Hatchling being the best possibly for Warlocks because of Swarmers and those Threadlings. As for the weapons that I'm pairing with the juicy Wishkeeper, we got this Indebted Kindness, which I think might be my new favorite weapon of the season. We got Beacon Rounds and Volt Shot on this, coming from the Warlord's Ruin Dungeon and the first encounter. Very easy to farm, but Beacon Rounds allows this thing to track. Volt Shot gives that jolt as well, so this thing is a very good to pair with the Strand synergy. And then, of course, Envious Assassin with Explosive Light to help us with the DPS side of this build. Moving on to the Queen's Foil Sensor for our artifact, we're going to be using the Piercing Sidearms for that nice juicy rocket sidearm. Now, we're going to be using Unstoppable Bow. Yes, Suspend also does the Unstoppable Stunning, but in general, why not throw it on since we are also using a bow? Now, none of these matter really since we aren't using anything solar-wise, with Torch possibly being an addition with one of our teammates giving it to us, since we're going to be applying stranded debuffs very easily with this build because of unraveling orbs with those unraveling rounds on our strand weapons, as well as threadlings being created as well, with the potential to also suspend targets just by breaking their shields with a strand weapon. So playing around with this build a little bit, this is what we came to the conclusion. Being able to use our Ensnaring Slam with Widow's Silk, we get double shackle grenades as well as the double dodges from our 6th Coyote. We can suspend with both of them as well as double grenades. So this build, in my opinion, I should say, has the best potential for the Strand Synergy and Wishkeeper out of all of our different subclasses. Threadlings and Warlocks, obviously very good. We have Armamentariums and our Drenger's Lash on our Titan, but this right here takes the cake. Now we're using Silk Strike with Marksman Dodge and Triple Jump with our Threaded Spike, and of course we need our Shackle Grenade so we can suspend those targets to use with the Wishkeeper Bow. Like I said, Ensnaring Slam, activate our air move to consume a class ability to dive to the ground and suspend targets. This is super nice because, like I said, that is what the Wishkeeper is about, giving us the more damage to suspended targets as well as that faster draw time. Widow Silk just gives us the extra grenade, like I was saying. Thread of Mind right here for our first fragment. Defeating suspended targets grants us class ability energy for that nice little positive feedback loop, so we can ensnare them with our class ability and then get our class ability back for defeating them. Threaded of Bind right here, we have Final Super Blows, emit that suspending burst. Again, we can use it to cause that DPS, add clear for a second, and all of those targets that are left suspended, we just shoot them with the bow and get everything else to proc with Mind and our other abilities. Thread of Generation, dealing damage, gives us grenade energy, allowing us to get our double shackle grenades back even faster. With Thread of Continuity, very good because it adds to the length of Unravel, Suspend, and Sever. More importantly, Suspend. It is from all sources, so the bow, our snare, as well as our grenade all apply to this continuity. So like I was saying, this is probably my favorite variation of the Wishkeeper that we have on a subclass. There is the option with this Strand build to use, instead of Widow Silk, using something like Whirlwind Maelstrom, which is also very good for unraveling targets and that nice shuriken, if you will, that Rasengan of the Tangles. But having the ability to have double grenades, in my opinion, is better because it revolves all around the Wishkeeper bow, creating that suspend on targets and using its exotic abilities to have the more damage as well as that faster draw time. So hopefully y'all like this build. One of my favorites from this season, for sure. Gonna be running it quite a bit because, one, I love the sidearm, and this bow is up there in the S tier category for me, at least in my opinion. Y'all will have to let me know what you guys think. But again, One Eye Jedi in all of my socials. Check down below in the description for that, as well as the Discord. Don't be afraid to join that. Subscribe to the channel, hit that bell so you don't miss out on any builds, guides like this. Again, truly appreciate all that crazy support. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.